back here in studio for the first time since 2015. We're thrilled to have back here on the Rich Eisen Show none other than Nate Bargatze. Good to see you, sir. Woo! You're the man.
I thought you were saying you haven't been back here for 2015.
No, you haven't been. But
yeah, I was like, golly, y'all.
Lots has happened in your life and your career. First of 2 Netflix specials. First up, new stand-up special, your friend Nate Bargatze.
I feel like an actor while I'm like I'm a method comedian. I go, well, it took a lot of time. I went to career day. It was a fun career day. They put me with a surgeon. He had like a skeleton. He brought a skeleton, a body.
So this did in fact happen.
Yeah. And he brought, because you have to bring stuff to show what you do. And then I brought my CD I first recorded. So, I'm showing it to 8-year-olds that don't even know what a CD possibly could be. And I'm like, yeah, I got this. And I got nominated for a Grammy. And so I had they give you a little medal, so I brought that. So then they're like, did you win? It's just all day was like, no, I didn't win, but this is, why'd you bring it? And you're like, well, I thought y'all would want to see it, but I was wrong.
And then the other guy had a skeleton, and they were
he's showing real body stuff. He's doing I was asking him, I was like, what about this hips? Anything I got? Yeah, right. You're like, my shoulders feel weird, dude. I go, can you look at that real fast?
Yeah, could you give me a quick once over?
Yeah.
It's funny. I haven't done the career day yet thing though, but years and years and years ago, when I was on SportsCenter, they had me teach a class on football at the Learning Annex.
Oh,
and so they had me in this and try and teach somebody football that doesn't understand a thing about it.
Yeah, a lot of why.
It's just,
why?
Right. It's just like, why? First of all, why call it? By the way, this sounds like the sketch you did with the George Washington sketch. Like you did on SNL. It's brilliant. Like, why call it a down? Why is it called a down? Why isn't it called a chance? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, great question.
Solid question.
I don't know the answer to it. And yet they were paying me to actually give them these answers. It was ugly.
Yeah.
It was a bad day in my life.
How old were they?
Oh God, these were grown people. They weren't kids.
Oh,
this was at the Learning Annex. They actually.
Oh yeah.
There was some dude in the back who's like, I paid good money. I brought my wife here for you to teach her football. I paid good money for this, and I came this close to saying, well, if you actually spoke to your wife during the games, maybe you didn't have to put your $50 down for me to learn it. Your annex, sir.
I taught a comedy for a one brief period. I would taught a comedy class kind of. Yeah. And so it was at a comedy club, this Eastville Comedy Club in New York. And I didn't want to even really teach it. But what I would do is when someone's first starting, you're like, we can just come with me. Mm-hmm. We're hang out. I got to do spots and shows around town, and we're just talk comedy and I'll just show you around. And so a lot of times the comics liked it. I thought it helped. And then I remember one guy, I took him and I'm like, we get out of my car to go to Caroline's on Broadway, and he's like, so I'm just gonna go watch you do a show? I go, yeah. That's it's hanging out and stuff. And he goes, this is not good. This is not what I wanted. And I just had to give him his cash back. And then he left. But he was not on board. He's like, well, that's not, I thought this was like a class. I was like, it's not fun. You get out there and follow me around.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then, part of it would be watch and learn. Right.
Yeah. And then I'll talk to you about comedy the whole time. And then I thought it was a great idea for a class, but he wanted more a transactional. And so, I remember just standing next to my car, Times Square, and I just had to pull $75 back out and just hand it back over to him.
Well, at least you have to go to the ATM. That might have been a little bit more.
I think it was the $75 he gave me when he showed up, and then I just had to give it right back to him.
That would be tough to do, right? Here's how you tell a joke. This is a setup. How do you do something like that?
I took a class. You just really need to be. When I was doing that, where I was teaching that class, it was more I was I'm trying to show you the New York scene. Yeah. So it's not as much. Learning to write jokes, you learn a lot of things in threes. Classes are good for when you're starting because you don't know what to do, even how to start.
Right.
So it's kind of just that, you're around people starting. And
well, you also have to have the gene to have, to notice the absurdity of the moments as you're going through your life. Again, the clip that we just saw. Yeah. You're in this moment, it's your kid's career day, and somebody shows up with a skeleton and a full-on doctor's job where they're saving lives, and here you are, trying
CD.
to
CD with a picture of me and my dad. It's called Yelled Out by Clowns, my CD. So
compact disc.
Compact disc.
Like, my gosh.
There you go. If you stick to it, you can get one of these.
When did you? You never knew. When did you first realize this is what you wanted to do, Nate?
I think I always, like in high school, I would always joke about going to Zany's, our local club there. And so I always wanted to do stand-up. My dad's a magician and he does comedy and his magic. So, I mean, I was around entertainment. Yeah. And so it was always in my mind. I don't think I really knew how to start. You know, pre-internet, anything pre-internet, dude. It's like you couldn't look up how to do anything. So you just figured you can't do it. I mean, most of the jobs were, well, you can't do that. Right. Now you could Google like how to be an actor, how to do anything. But then you didn't. You were like, well, I got to know someone that does it. So I don't think I knew how to start. And then I moved to Chicago first, and I had a buddy that wanted to go to Second City and do improv. And so I went there. Then that's when I got into stand-up and stuff.
So that's where you first started.
That's when I first started. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. With Kumail Nanjiani, Pete Holmes. There's a bunch of comics. Hannibal Buress, T.J. Miller. A lot of comics that are doing very good now. We were all in Chicago starting together.
And then when did you start going around the country and making a profession of it? Because that's the serious part about it.
That's the serious part. So I started in 2003, probably 2013-ish. Is when I started kind of really going on the road a little bit more. And then, because I lived out here for a couple years, and then it was like auditioning wasn't going to be, I was terrible at it.
You mean like acting you're talking about is what you're saying, auditioning?
I want to act, but I couldn't get past the audition because it's like if I come in, it's like you either want this or you're like, well, that's not even kind of what we want. I mean, but it can't be. I auditioned for the Entourage movie, and I went and took an acting class before it, and I told the guy, I was like, am I good? And he goes, you should try to get out of the audition. That's how bad it was. He goes, I think it will hurt you more if you go do the audition than if you cancel the audition. And I was like, all right. Well, I was like, I'll just go. I don't care. And then I get a call back, and they were like, did you read the script? And I was like, no, because I figured I wasn't going to get it, and I don't want to ruin the movie for me. You know, I was a big Entourage fan. So they were like, all right, well, maybe come read the script. And then I read it. And then they still didn't give it to me. So now I know the script. And you're like,
the whole movie's ruined.
That's the whole point.
Well, what were you auditioning for?
Haley Joel Osment's part. Who's a very good friend, and but because he's a real, he's a real actor.
Okay,
he's real. Right. Yeah, you go with him because he's the real deal.
Well, good thing it's all worked out for you nonetheless, Nate. And so what was the first joke, bit, whatever you want to call it, that you crushed it, and you're like, okay, I'm on my way. This is working. I got this thing. What was the first one for you there?
The first, I'm trying to remember. It was this one was about. I think it's a joke. This was when I first started. The first joke I could close on. It was something with Superman. You see Superman in the sky, and someone's like, "Is that a bird? Or is that a plane?" And it's like, well, how? And then the joke would be, how bad could your eyesight be that you can't tell the difference between a bird and a plane? And so that was, and then it was something, and that was the general idea of it. I don't really remember how the rest went. That one, and then another big one for me, was when I iced coffee with milk ordered in at Starbucks. That was on Netflix, but that was probably the one that people still bring up today, and the first like big.
People are bringing this up to you today.
Oh yeah,
even today.
Yeah.
Which is amazing that somebody remembers a joke for how many years now? 15, 20?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And then,
I love that. That's fantastic. Nate Bargatze here on The Rich Eisen Show, your new stand-up special. Again, your friend Nate Bargatze is premiering globally on Netflix on Christmas Eve. And then, dude, network television, CBS, presents the first primetime special featuring you, a 1-hour holiday-themed variety show airing on the 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS. And then you stream it on Paramount Plus right here on the Roku portal. You shot this at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was one of the coolest things I've done. because it's like a throwback, like where they used to do those variety shows.
Yeah, right.
And so we have Noah Kahan's on it, Carrie Underwood, Darius Rucker was in the house band, great comic Derek Stroop. And then Streeter Seidel and Mikey Day, Lauren Michaels produced it.
Yeah.
And so Streeter Seidel and Mikey Day, who wrote the Washington sketch that everyone loves, they created this with me, and they wrote this. And we have a play on that kind of sketch, but with a different, not Washington, but something else.
The George Washington's only for SNL.
Yeah, it was George Washington's only SNL. Yeah,
How was that pitched to you? That sketch?
It was. They wrote it. They thought I could do it. I mean, they wrote it. I didn't write it because a lot of people think I wrote it.
Okay.
They're just unbelievable at writing in my voice. But when we did it in the table read, it didn't go great because I'm used to playing off a crowd. So my timing is kind of based off a crowd. And so, I mean, it was almost going to get cut because the table read, it was long, and it was like, I wasn't like bringing it, I guess, at a table, or I wasn't. And then Lauren, he's like, all right, you can do it in dress rehearsal. It was the last sketch in dress rehearsal, and it murdered. It just destroyed. And then it got moved up to third. And so that's once they saw it with the crowd and the timing, it was...
Well, and that you probably got into it yourself in that regard too, right?
Oh,
you're getting the feedback.
You're getting the feedback. Yes, and when you're just reading it at a table, is like, you just kind of say stuff quicker, and you're not as like sitting in it.
It's brilliant. It really is brilliant. The way it's wild to me that I would hear from you that the timing was off. Because your timing in it is absolutely perfect.
Once you get that crowd, it's like you gotta.
Because it is kind of funny where it's just we're gonna have different metrics. We're gonna have different numbers. Yeah. We're gonna have something for 2,000 pounds. Well, what's 1,000 pounds? Nothing.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah. And that was what was happening in Valley Forge.
Yeah. And they did good with the second one because when we did the second one, I was, it was kind of like I don't want to try to, But it felt, when we did it, it just felt so different and it was like, it's almost like, but it was just like, it's a fun device to make fun of like very, relatable questions that we all have. And so the second one ended up being great too. And so, it's awesome. So
was there a third one coming if you go back? What do you think?
I mean, hopefully if I get back.
You'll get back.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
I don't know. I think they would probably figure something out, but I'm not.
That would be fantastic. That would just be great. And so a variety show, again, that's going to be coming on CBS on December 19th. And then your tour dates for Big Dumb Eyes World Tour starting in January. You've got Vegas dates the first 3 months, and then you're going to Europe.
Yeah.
How often have you toured Europe?
Just once before. And so we're going to Paris. Never been there.
Okay.
Norway? I have a joke in my my Netflix special.
Okay.
I say because Europe is very old, and because you think we're old as a country, and you get there and you're like, good night. Every building is like that building's from 8. You're like, all right. So fun little Europe joke. The Europe
little tour, little preview right there.
In Europe only. So, but but Europe is the best. We went to Belgium, went to Amsterdam, all that stuff, and so we're going back to it, and it's gonna be great.
Dubai in early May as well. NateBargatze.com back in the States for the second week of May through the end of next year, and you got a book coming out. My God, man, unbelievable! Your book's coming out. Big Dumb Eye Stories from a Simpler Mind. You can start pre-ordering right now at NateBargatze.com. Okay, tell me about the match.
Yeah.
Tell me about, so it's you, and it's Gretzky, Wahlberg, Charles Barkley, Michael Phelps, Griffey, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Out there.
It was awesome.
Hacking it up, right?
Me and Blake were on a team together first. We were terrible. We played really bad. And then Charles was just making fun of us, which is very funny. And then we got to go in and start making fun of him. But everybody was taking it kind of serious. Like, Wahlberg's a little serious with it. Phelps, Gretzky's super fun.
Wahlberg strikes me as he'd be very serious about this.
He at one point started getting his elbow. Like what's the thing that hits your, whatever it's called?
The funny bone?
No, what's the massage?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Theragun.
The Theragun.
Like, so he is in the middle of the tournament, where in the middle of the round, just 5 people show up, and he just holds his arm up, and people start doing Theragun on his arm. No heads up, no.
He had a team like a pit crew?
Yeah.
With a
like
Theragun?
It was like a pit crew. Yeah, Theragun pit crew. And no, hey, man, I'm about to have people come do this to my elbow. Like, I think you should say, I think you should say
a heads up.
Just a heads up. Just a nice little, and we didn't even talk about it after. That's something I think I would definitely, once the round's over, we go, let's get into it, man. Let's talk about that Theragun thing. And like, what was that? Just moved on. We just all moved on.
Sort of like he was lining up a putt instead.
Yeah.
And then so he just had somebody. By the way, that would be a great fantasy team name. Is Wahlberg's Theragun Pit Crew?
Yeah,
that might be good. Write that down for a future fantasy team. That wouldn't be bad.
It wouldn't be bad.
So he just apropos nothing that happened.
Yeah, he did that.
Okay.
They had Wahlberg's for us though. They were making those. It was pretty nice.
Okay, very good.
But yeah, it was like he did good. But we had a lot of, me and Blake did a lot of the commentating. We were supposed to go in just for once, but we were knocked out so early. And then Blake Griffin's very funny.
Didn't he try stand up?
Yeah, he did some stand up, and then he's very fun and funny. And so we went on. We were up there with Ernie Johnson, Trevor Immelman, and Barkley, and so then we just hung out up there and just kind of made fun of everybody. So the whole experience was great. Is
it okay to ask you your handicap?
Yeah, mine says it's an 8 right now, but it's not. I'm probably a 10.
Are you saying that just because you
No,
this is not 10. A gamesmanship?
If you watch the match, it's not. I don't get to play as consistently, so it's. I would say a solid 10.
I was about to say. I mean, what interferes with your golf game more, your career or being a dad?
I've never met my daughter, and there's no. I'm a big fan. I'm a giant fan of her. The career though, but yeah, being at home. She played golf. She did go do golf, and she did it exactly. She did it for me, and it was the most fun. She had one great round. And I followed her around like her caddy. I'm telling her what to do.
How old is she?
12.
Okay.
And then the next day, the next tournament, the coach was like, "Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to like tell them what to do." And I was like, "Oh, I was the most telling them what to do. I was like grabbing the flag. I couldn't have helped her more."
You were the helicopter caddy?
Oh,
is that what you're saying?
it was, yeah.
But isn't that what a caddy's supposed to do though? I don't understand.
I don't think they're supposed to have caddies. That's
Well, now I'm picking it up here.
Look, 7th grade golf. I didn't know all the rules. And how are you going to keep these dads not out there? That seems impossible. You're telling us we can go walk. My daughter is kind of into golf. Probably not doing it for me, but it looks like she might be into it. It was a problem. I was like
off on her own.
Yeah. I couldn't. I just was walking everywhere.
Yeah. If my sons were out there by themselves, they'd be looking for like the cart to go get something to eat. You know what I mean? Like just start ordering food. They wouldn't really be locked in on the actual tournament.
Yeah, you guys were playing in a big country club.
Yeah, sure.
This was a public. Where you going to your tournaments at like. At the Madison Club, at the Discovery property.
You wrecked the buffet, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Sure. Nate Bargatze here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you were playing with Gretzky too?
Gretzky's awesome, man. Gretzky's a real deal. Like he's just very, very consistent. He just doesn't. They all do the same thing and they hit it just exactly where it's supposed to go. But Gretzky was very fun. It was very cool to get to hang with him and get to know him. He's Wayne Gretzky, so it's he's very funny, and it was him and Blake are very close.
Okay,
and so it was just getting to be with them, and it felt like just hanging out.
Yeah, I bet, and Ken Griffey and Phelps too. Phelps is good people.
Good dude. Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome. So you're a fan of Vanderbilt sports, correct?
Did not go there.
Beating Alabama. Had to have
Big
been
deal.
as
Diego
where
Pavia.
Where does that rank other than having Jay Cutler at play at Vanderbilt. Where does this
Vandy stuff?
Yeah, I mean that's got to be one of the greatest Vanderbilt sports moments.
It's probably is. I mean, we won a College World Series. Women's bowling is pretty awesome. A bit of a problem for teams.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, and then.
By the way, you're the first person to ever talk about the Vanderbilt women's bowling team in the history of this show.
We're a factory. Yes.
So if your daughter can spin it, send him to Vanderbilt.
Come to Vanderbilt. It is NIL. Come to Vanderbilt. Have your daughter bowl at women's bowling.
Hey, if they can help you get into Vanderbilt, that's not a bad idea, by the way.
I'll help you. Would not be allowed to go there. I don't even know if that camera's the one.
That's true. That is the one.
Yeah, okay, I'm just talking about it.
There's been women's college bowling since 2004. Vandy has 3 championships.
It's too many. Too many. We just want someone to come do. Can anybody else carry this sport? We're tired. That's what I say about women's Vandy bowling. So yeah, that and Diego Pavia.
Okay, that's right.
With Vandy beat Alabama. It was the night I hosted SNL, and so we're watching it in the.
No way. Yeah,
it was right before dress rehearsal, and we're watching it in the green room on my phone, and I mean, it was like. Michael Longfellow, I felt good. I just, something felt good to me about the Vandy. I didn't think, I'm not saying we were going to win, but I just said I'm excited for this game. And I told Michael Longfellow that, which is, he's the one, the water slide sketch we did.
Yes.
That was his sketch. But so I remember we were standing up above there and on that stand, and I was like, I feel good about it. I'm excited about the Vandy.
As you're ready to go down.
As we're ready, yeah. And when we taped to that night, before we taped, me and him are talking about Vandy beating Alabama.
That is diehard, man. And they took a big, huge lead too, and then held on to it.
Held on to it. It was everything. I was at the first game we beat Virginia Tech. I've been about 4 this year, and then so it was. Yeah, I got way more text about that than Saturday Night Live.
That Vandy beating Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, just getting blown. People just, I mean, so many people, they text me, are you at the game?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want to go, I'm hosting Saturday night. That's
hey, man, facts aren't flexes.
You go, what do you, I don't know how to do, I don't know how to say this. I mean?
Hey.
I go, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not at the game.
Not at the game.
I'm in 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Getting ready to host Saturday Night Live. That is awesome. I'm big fan of yours, as I've mentioned. I really appreciate you coming back here and being here in advance of so much going on. 2 Netflix specials, including one that's coming up on Christmas Eve. You've got the Nashville Christmas show that's airing on CBS on December 19th, the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour, and then a book to go along with it as well. And you're going to be part of the Netflix doubleheader of football on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm bringing my whole family.
Okay.
Staying with, not to name drop, Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
Hey
now then, what do you mean?
So I met him. He's awesome. He's been very nice. Because my family, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of like, I was like, all right, I don't know what to do. I've got to know him. And then so I just texted him to be like, hey, I might try to see if I can, I don't know, if I'm bringing everybody up, if we could rent a house or whatever. He was very, very nice. And he had a place and was like, he's hooking it up.
So
my whole family.
The Bargatzes
and the Roethlisbergers, 2 long names.
Are hanging out
on Christmas Eve, Santa, and then go to Stu's.
And he's putting you up, like you're staying at his house?
Not in it. I think he did pretty good. And so I do think he has something else, another house. But so it'll be 2, we'll be in another house, but it's okay. He's like he's been excited, dude. He FaceTime me. He likes to FaceTime.
A lot of these
athletes. He goes, are you a call or FaceTime guy? And then I was like, whatever you want. And then he FaceTimed me, and I was like, you chose wrong.
That's funny. Yeah. That is funny. So what are you doing for the game? What's your role?
I don't know. I think I'm a guest. No.
Really?
Should we know? You're sounding like we should already know.
Well, I mean, now we're in my lane here a little bit here with sports television. Yeah, I think you should know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do. I don't think it relies on me.
Okay.
That's what I think. So I think I'm coming on because the special will be there, and we're talking. I hope to get. I think I actually do have a call next week. Now that you're thinking,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and Bert's part of this too. Kreischer?
Bert's part of it. Bert's going to be. He's doing the tailgating, and Bert will be. Bert's got a real job.
So he's in the Pittsburgh Steeler tailgate outside of Acrisure.
I believe.
That
yeah,
sounds.
He's in, doing.
That sounds
yeah,
very Bert.
he's going to. Yeah, he's got to have his shirt off. This is when. Maybe wish you didn't commit to that shirt thing a long time ago, because now you got to do it, and it's Pittsburgh on Christmas. It's going to be freezing.
Nippy.
It'll be a bit nippy.
It should be somewhat nippy for Bert.
But he'll look great. He's big.
He's
now.
all jacked up now.
He's all jacked up now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing what you're doing with Netflix. Obviously, on I'll be watching on Christmas. No pressure. And thanks for coming in, man. Congrats on that. Thanks for coming in.
Fan.
I appreciate you saying that.
My favorite logo I've ever seen in my life.
Is that right? You like it?
You got the best. It's the best. I don't even know if there's a better one.
Which is me running my 40-yard dash in my suit?
The other one. Is there another logo? I guess.
I walked right into that.
Yeah.
I did indeed. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well, I'll give you a mug.
Thank you.
How does that sound?
All right.
Or
I would love it.
You know what? I'll give you a whole bunch. Give them to the Roethlisbergers.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll pack them in a little package.
You've got to give them. You've got to give them something, right?
I do. I got to walk in with something.
You cannot be empty-handed.
Can't be like just a bottle of wine. I got to come in with
yes.
And I got you Rich Eisen gear.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. See, there you go. I got you covered.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everybody, check out. Let me get these all right. First one up December 19th on CBS, and you could stream it the next day on Paramount Plus. Nate Bargatze's Nashville Christmas. Then on Christmas Eve, you watch your friend Nate Bargatze premiering globally on Netflix, and stay tuned for the next day where he's part of the Steelers Chiefs broadcast, part of the doubleheader on Netflix, and then the Big Dumb Eyes tour that starts in January, and the book Big Dumb Eyes: Stories from a Simpler Mind, May 6th.
Yeah.
Pre-order
sorry. It's
right
a lot.
now.
I'm sorry about all this stuff.
No.
That shouldn't be. That's embarrassing.
No, it's not. You got books.
I'm embarrassed.
You shouldn't be. You're what we call a conglomerate.
The book is all blank pages.
Really odd. Really odd choice of a book, but God bless you.
Yeah,
Good luck
thanks,
on that.
Man.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.